All right. Hey guys. Cody here with another live stream today. We are joined by Paul here. We are going to be talking about this guy actually has a really amazing collection of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie props. And I'm going to see we can get a closer look at some of this stuff, and we're going to get some stories behind how he obtained them, and their existence behind the scenes, where how they got. Like, I'm guessing you do know how they got to these different places and stuff like that over the years.
Some of them I do, like the main suits I do, but not the Tengu and those ones.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're going to bring Paul to the front here. Let's see. How do we do that? But we got people already coming in here. Of course, we got Brent Mania here. Hello, Brent. How you doing, man? And we got Brian Sanchez. How you guys doing? Thank you guys for joining in. But we're going to go ahead and ask some questions because he's actually got a. He's already got something pretty big behind him right now. This is the manhole cover from the opening of the movie here that housed the hyperlock chamber that Ivan Ooze was in. So you got some details on that? You got a story behind that one?
Yeah, so originally the manhole cover, so basically that was made by Tony Lees. So he basically sculpted it. And he passed away, unfortunately. And then Colin Gibson also helped on that one. Colin Gibson, as far as I know, did the vehicles for the new Mad Max movies.
Mm-hmm.
So he worked on this originally back in 1995. Um, and then, yeah, that's how I ended up with that one.
Right. Um, what's up, Siggy? Happy Friday to you as well.
Here, I'll give you a better look at this.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing, to be honest with you. What like how like I meant to ask this. I think I did ask earlier, but how heavy is it? Is it like is it? You said it was resin casted around it.
So it's foam and then it's fiberglass.
Fiberglass, gotcha.
So it's not that heavy. I was able to bring it down the stairs by myself when it arrived, so it wasn't too bad.
So
Maybe.
is it the same one the construction workers are carrying around? I'm guessing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you see them put the chains on it, pull it out of the ground.
Right.
Nice. Yeah.
So that is pretty cool. So JL is actually asking, do you have any of the Zords that are the Zords sculpted?
No, I do not. As far as I know, the Zords, I'm actually not sure where they ended up. Do you believe like the ones used in the film or the maquettes, like the ones that production would have used?
So I'm guessing you don't have anything. Just in general, the Zords.
No, because near the ending of the film, it was CGI for that. I think actually all the Zords for the film were CGI. Now that I think of it.
I guess it could be a good transition if you want to show this off next, unless you want to show it off in the finale. We poor Ivan Ooze missed the Brady Bunch reunion.
Well, I did miss this reunion, luckily.
Yeah, this is pretty cool that you have some of these props. So, I mean, if you want to go into detail about how you obtain them, and if you want to go ahead and show off some stuff, feel free to do so. This is you're on the center stage here, so we want to.
Yeah. So a lot of people want to know how they ended up where they did over the years. So back in 1995, after the movie was wrapped up, Fox owned the rights to the suits. So a lot of people ask, why wasn't more in the TV show? Why was the Tengu Warriors name changed from Tengu to Tenga for the TV show? And the reason for that is Fox owned the rights for them and Ivan Ooze. So basically, back in the days, Saban sold the rights just for the film, but they actually had to create their own villains as well because the movie wanted to separate from the TV show because they're making their own universe. So that's why you won't see those in the TV show. So after the movie wrapped up, Fox ended up selling them to Planet Hollywood. And Planet Hollywood dispersed them to their different locations, had them on display. And then Planet Hollywood had their auctions through Heritage Auctions. And in the March one, I was lucky to get 5 of these. So, yeah.
I'm guessing because you were asking. This is how me and you ended up meeting about this conversation. Was the ooze jar that I had in there? Did you end up getting the ones that they were selling on Heritage Auctions?
What, the ooze jars
Yeah,
themselves? I seen them. I didn't really jump on them because after 30 years, they pretty much dried up, right? And
yeah,
a lot of them, because of the air pocket inside, kind of condensed and that. So I wasn't really too interested in them. But if the price was good enough, I would have jumped on it. But I wanted to more focus on the suits themselves.
right, right.
Yeah.
I mean, those are some pretty big props. I mean, I get that, and yeah, I would have like okay, so I have like a little bit of finesse when I do my collecting and where I place things and stuff, but
Yeah.
it would have been pretty cool. Like I'm wondering actually where the little wizard costume that Ivan Ooze was wearing was. Uh,
Um, so I'm not sure where that went. I did own the ring that he was wearing at the time,
right,
but I ended up selling that to a buddy who's also a big Power Rangers collector.
right,
But I kept the main suit for Ivan, obviously, for good reason. But
right.
the wizard costume, I've never seen it pop up at all
Interesting.
yet. I'm not sure what happened to that. It could end up in a future auction because I know Planet Hollywood's still doing auctions through Heritage at the moment.
Yeah.
Um, I know they're auctioning off the new suits from the 30th anniversary. They're going to
Hmm.
be doing all those suits in a month or two. So
Yeah, the ones from Once and Always,
yeah,
and from Cosmic Fury. Yeah, that's just interesting. They're starting to sell some of this stuff off. It's pretty cool.
yeah,
Out of my price range, though. Brent's asking why is Kimberly in the movie and not Cat? Because this happened way before that episode even happened. And the movie came out in '95.
yeah,
Uh, they were filming the episodes during the production of the movie in Australia. So yeah, that episode you see everyone in Australia in halfway through season 3. That is when they were filming the movie.
yeah,
So, but feel free to go ahead and get up and move around and show some stuff off if you want to, man.
yeah.
I Dawson says hi, Paul.
Hey, how's it going? So you guys obviously remember the double whammy kick with the Usman, where
Yes.
they all come up. I think I sent you the video of it
Yeah,
behind the
there's
scenes.
some pictures here because I do want to be able to show off. You did say you ended up restoring those.
Yeah.
So let me go
So
those images real quick. You can go ahead.
yeah, so some of these props over the years, like they degraded quite a bit, right? Because of the material they used. Back then, a lot of them were made out of foam latex. So over the years, foam latex breaks down. So I got the Usman restored. He still has all of his original tubing and the same paint on the face. They just cleaned it up a bit. But that's him now. I got this made for him. The costume's not original here, but
Right.
everything else is like the head and all that had him fully restored. So what they did was he was mounted when they were filming the movie. He was mounted on a rig, and they actually had 2 feet on sticks and were just pushing it on him. And that's how they did the double whammy kick. Now, if you look over here,
So
you'll
you
see,
hang on
yeah,
just a second.
that's the before photo of his chin. That's still original. It came off during shipping, so they had to reattach it. That's why you'll see he doesn't have that chin piece.
Right. And then you have all these photos of the Tengu.
Yeah, so that's when he was getting restored. That's the animatronic version. So
Mhm.
in the movie, when you see the one talking, that would be the one that's talking.
Right.
So I guess after they got in a fight with Dulcia and the Power Rangers on that island, and you
Yeah.
see them go to Ivan Ooze and tell him what happened, the one that was talking, that would be the one you see there.
You want to take another whack at it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But the cool thing is with the Usman, I don't know if you could see this plastic tubing here.
Let's see. Let
So
me get you.
right there. So this goes up inside the Usman and it connects to his eyeballs and his mouth. So the
Hmm.
reason for that is when they were filming the movie, they wanted to do a practical effect. So they pumped ooze through the eyes and that when he got kicked.
Hmm.
After filming, they didn't like it. And that's when they added the CGI and you see the eyeballs pop out for him.
The cartoon effect. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So there's that. here's the animatronic Tengu now after restoration.
Amazing.
So I had this done. A company in Hollywood called Petrocolor Designs. They actually did the restoration for me. There's a few out there like Tom Spina and that.
Hmm.
Me personally found Petro good work and very easy to work with and good price, so I got it done through him. And yeah, so those are those two. Now, if we want to go to Tengu again, this is the full one.
So that's a full suit right there. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened was obviously you've seen him in the third season of the TV show, or yeah.
Right.
And after the filming happened, they sent the suits over to the US and basically said you can use these for the TV show. But that's why they changed the name from Tengu to Tenga for the TV show. So that's how they got the rights for the Tango Wars. So yeah. But over the years, as you can see, the hands start drying up,
Oh yeah, yeah.
start decaying. Unfortunately, I plan on getting those restored eventually because he's surprisingly good shape.
And
It's
it's
just
foam latex rubber is what they use, right?
yeah. So, but surprisingly, the suit itself held up pretty well, as you can see. Like it's
Hmm.
pretty sturdy and everything. But yeah, it's just the hands. But what I think that was, when they were on display, they didn't put foam inside the hands to kind of support the weight over
Hmm.
the years, so they caved in on themselves. So that's what happened there. Now, if you want to look at more damp.
Yeah. Mordant was owned by Fox as well, is what
Yeah.
someone was asking.
Yeah. So an actor named Jean Paul, he currently resides in, I believe, Australia now.
Hmm.
He was the actor that wore this. I've spoken to him. I'm actually going to send some stuff out to him soon to get signed for me. But he told me it was hot as hell in here, and I believe it when he had to wear this thing.
Yeah.
Pretty big guy, same thing, latex material, foam, good shape. He didn't come with his monocle though. I actually made that,
Gotcha.
and yeah, surprisingly, he's in decent shape himself. They
It
had
does
him mounted on a stand when I got him.
it does look like he held up pretty well, which is really cool. Like it's presentable.
Yeah, there is some work. Like basically, all these I want to get touched up just to preserve them better for more years to come. Obviously, I don't want to keep having these things fall apart over the years.
Right.
So that's the plan to do with these ones, like I did with the other ones. But because these ones are in way better shape, it's going to be more of a preservation than a restoration job on them.
Hmm.
So that's what I plan on doing with these. As you can see, I built a pedestal here for them.
Which is pretty cool. I like that.
Because what I want to do is I'm going to mount plexiglass from the wall down, screw it, so they're going to basically be encased inside of plexiglass, airtight.
Hmm.
So that's
And
best
that's
way
the
to do it.
next. I guess that's the next question I have for you. Do you temperature control everything that you have when it comes to things like this?
So I keep this room humidity controlled and temperature controlled. Reason why is I also have a saltwater fish tank in here, so I have to be on that. Um, but besides that, everything holds up pretty good. Like I keep most of my movie props and everything in display cases. But as you can see, I keep weather stripping tape along them so they
Hmm.
keep them airtight. And then, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
then,
the only thing closest to anything that I would have to do any kind of like temperature control on is I have one of those Hot Toys Batman figures, and they use similar uh, clothing or stuff like that for these figures, the 1/6 scale figures.
yeah.
But see, do you have any of the movie coins?
Like, do you mean the Morpher coins?
I'm guessing, yeah, or any of the chess pieces, I guess.
Well, I better at the suit. So that would be the next one I'm going to show you guys. So in that auction, I also won Kimberly's hero costume, Pink Ranger.
Mhm.
Came with everything. The only thing it didn't come with, unfortunately, was her helmet. That was sold off in auction by a prop store a few years ago. I've been trying to track it down, obviously, complete the suit, but in the meantime, I made a reproduction. Um, Besides that, everything else was complete. It came with her hero morpher. It came with her blaster that we only see in the movie, but it wasn't actually used. She never
Right.
pulled it out. But here, I'll show you that next.
So yeah, we're getting some pretty good details on some of these costumes, guys. So you guys can get a good look at everything. Has that always been a different tone of pink for the chest piece, or is that just discoloration from age?
Just discoloration from age. So as you can see here, this is how the morpher was.
Right.
Here's her hero coin. So these ones, because these were the ones they would wear when they're moving around and all that. So they actually glued the coin in there so they wouldn't pop out.
Mm.
They didn't want them to fall out. Then this is original chest piece and everything as well. Here's her blaster that you don't get to see.
Oh, is it just it's made of rubber?
This? Yeah. Everything, basically everything is like a spandex rubber material on her.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. So, yeah, that's Kimberly's hero costume in the movie.
Do you have the White Ranger suit? I'm guessing not.
No, that was sold off with Prop Store a few years ago. So in this auction, the only one they had was Kimberly, Yellow Ranger as well, Blue Ranger, and Black Ranger. And then they had the Hero Red Ranger helmet in that auction as well. A buddy of mine actually bought the Red Ranger helmet because he owns the Red Ranger hero costume. So he has it complete now.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let's see. Next up, we have any weapons, I guess. Brent Mania is asking.
Well, that would be go down to Kimberly's weapon.
It's pretty much just that. Yeah.
Yeah. It'd just be that one. Besides that, no weapons, unfortunately. I do have one better, which I think is probably the best weapon because he basically gave the Power Rangers a run around. And that'd be Ivan
Right
Ooze.
there. So this right here is the one of the main reasons, because I do remember when this actually sold. I still can't believe that they kept this after the production of the movie. And yeah, so your story is this is all like a complete suit except for the head and I'm guessing the body that you use to drape it around.
Yeah. Well, I would need Paul Freeman for that one, right?
Right.
But yeah. So the head I made myself. I 3D printed it, airbrushed it, and then added eyeballs.
Nice.
But the suit, yeah, it's all original with his original cuffs.
Wow.
His cape in the back. It's pretty cool. So the story behind this, Paul Freeman hated this suit because how heavy it was, which it is pretty heavy. Like me trying to get this mannequin set up was hell, how heavy it was. So if you look at interviews with him, he even says you don't see Ivan Ooze move around that much because he can only take a few steps in this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and he said something about how he actually fell through one of the or some of the stairs or something like that, and like sprained his ankle. Yeah.
So Ivan Ooze, like I was saying, is so heavy. They actually had these straps that was almost like a backpack that he would wear, and it was slung through the suit and kind of keep some of the weight off of him. It would put it on his back like a backpack because how heavy this thing was.
Yeah, that is just a beautiful piece. So essentially, I do need to ask: do you the headpiece obviously is removable, but do you ever plan on getting any part of this signed?
So my buddy was at the recent convention where Paul Freeman was, and he was actually speaking with him, showed him photos that I own the suit, and I asked him, "Are you going to come to Canada at all?" Because if he did come to Canada, I would gladly bring it there. And I was actually speaking with Steve Cardenas, the Red Ranger, about 2 weeks ago, because me and him would love to do a booth for the 30th anniversary in Toronto, Canada here. So we're looking into doing that next year. that have these display, get autographs going, and photos with all the original props. But getting it signed itself, probably not. A lot of people frown upon that when it
Right.
comes to. Maybe I would probably get him to. If he would wear it again, that would be awesome. If I could get him to put even just a robe on or something.
He's
I
probably
know
gonna.
he's up there in age. It would be quite a bit to ask, but it would be nice to see him do it again.
It would be interesting. It would be for one hell of a photo op, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of funny though. A lot of people don't realize we almost did not get this suit of Ivan Ooze. So when I was doing my research after I got the props and that, I came across a guy named Warren Beaton. So Warren Beaton lives in Australia. He done a lot of different movies and productions. So Warren was telling me a story about how there was an original different Ivan Ooze suit. So the original Ivan Ooze suit was made by a guy named Joseph Porro, and that suit he hated. He designed it but hated it, and it mysteriously, from what I hear, disappeared the day of shooting.
Was it
There
any
we
of
go.
these?
Yeah. So the original suit disappeared the day of shooting. Exactly. That that Paul Freeman was going to do his first scenes in the suit, and it mysteriously disappeared from the trunk of his car because back then, they just put that stuff in the trunk of the car, drove it over, and get filming done. And so Warren Beaton told me a girl named Laura Alvarez and Letitia had to basically one weekend pick up all this tubing, dye it purple, and throw this costume that we have together. So they have
Wow.
48 hours to throw the Ivan Ooze costume together.
And it's a very iconic looking suit to those of us who grew up in the 90s and with this movie. That representation of that character, I mean, they had enough time to actually mold plastic toys out of it too. But
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it looks iconic, and every time I think about this character, it's so perfect. I don't know if I could have seen it any different way. So, it is
Well,
an amazing.
exactly. And it was just one of those suits that really stuck with a lot of people, right? It stood out from every villain. That's why, even though we only got to see him once, even you mentioned Power Rangers, someone's going to say Ivan Ooze for a villain,
Right.
right?
I mean, I have a friend of mine who was born in 2000 who's never seen the movie, and when I was living with him, I was watching the movie and in passing he comes by and he's just like, "Who is this character?" Like he's so energetic and fun to watch, and he stayed and watched the whole movie and said that was the best part of that movie is that guy right there, whoever he
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So
Well, I love the CGI scene as well. Like everyone remembers the kick in the nuts scene, right?
right,
It's kind of funny. A buddy of mine, his name was Ivan D. Wolf. He's still doing productions and that, but he's the one who did the CGI for that scene.
right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So someone's asking. He wonders what happened to the ooze flute from the
That
movie.
I do know. I trying to find it myself because I want it. Let's put it that way. I
Just
want
put
to
it.
get that with the costume.
Yeah, put it with the costume. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure where it ended up. I'm not sure if it was just thrown out, if someone on set that day just brought a flute that they owned, or what happened.
Yeah, as someone who's been in passing around people who, after 30 years, have somehow obtained props. I remember when I was working with the triplets, they had someone brought in one of the golden power staffs, and
Mhm.
it's just amazing to see how cheap looking it looks in comparison to what it looks like on screen. But it is heavy,
Yeah.
so there are some props out there that were also thrown together from like basic pipes and tubing and stuff like that for the show. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was just like one of
Well,
those.
that's what happened with the Usman. So the Usman that we see, they're actually made out of leftovers from different productions. So the
Really,
dreadlocks you see and all the tubing that were from different creatures that
Predator,
were tore down. And
probably Predator.
yeah, yeah, that would be fun. I actually, I had a story about where it was, but I kind of lost it on my old computer. But Warren told me behind the scene, because a lot of people don't, I'm not sure if there was a scene that was deleted where they actually fought a giant rat downtown.
Yeah, no, I actually have that footage, believe it
Yeah,
or
yeah.
not. So
So that was scrapped. That was a bad idea all around. Same with the removable face mask with the mask.
mhm,
So Rob Berman actually made all the suits. His studio did
I
the
think it might be
Power
also.
Ranger.
Yeah, I brought this book out for reference because a lot of this stuff they do a really good job at showing off some of the original ideas for this movie. Aside
Hmm.
from, Ivan Ooze, there was one apparently they had for in placement for Dulcia. There was a side character. It was like an elephant.
Yeah, yeah,
That suit was made as well.
yeah.
Um,
I'm not
who had?
sure what happened to that. Like I said, we might see more pop up in auctions.
Yeah,
If you guys do, just know you're gonna have me going against you for them. But
probably.
yeah.
If you've already got part of the collection, you might as well add the rest of it
Well,
because
a buddy of mine currently owns, the big Nageti coin that was on the pyramid.
right.
So he owns that. He asked me if I wanted it. Pretty
That
good
would be
price.
that would be very interesting for you to find that prop.
Yeah, the issue is it's 10 feet wide and 10 feet tall, right?
Right.
So it's a big piece. So some of that would be a little complicated getting into Canada at the moment, but maybe sometime down the road for that one.
Yeah. So, and then, obviously, I'm sure for this movie, they've got to have props. I'm guessing this might be your ooze head right here in this book. Maybe. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Well, that would be one of the background masks, I believe, for that one. Or that is the head, one of the two. I can't really see on that one. But
So, there's definitely got to be some more props out there for this movie that we are just
yeah.
absolutely not seeing.
So for the Usman, I believe I got a photo where they had like 30 of them in a room on display back when they were doing the production. So I know there was a lot of them. I'm not sure how many of those survived the mask.
Mm-hmm.
So the way they did the masks were for the Usman, they took Paul Freeman, a face mold of his head,
Mm-hmm.
and then did face casts to make the Usman. That's why they all kind of look similar. And then they took the leftover pieces, made the dreadlocks and all that.
Yeah, I'm sure that if Paul really, really, really wanted to get the White Ranger suit, dude, I'm sure he'd probably get the entire 6 suits if they existed. Uh,
Yeah, like I know the Yellow Ranger sold same auction with the helmet only sold
that
for
one
like
was in Hollywood Studios. I remember
yeah
what was it? Pink and yellow were both in. I think.
yeah that one sold for only 8,000 I believe.
Mhm.
The Black and Blue Rangers sold in the same auction. Those went for about 18, 19,000. And then I got a wicked deal on the Pink Ranger, and that was about 7,500 I believe, or 8,000.
I would love to have some sort of prop. Like knowing me, I'd probably go for the ooze jar, but it's
Yeah.
small, it's compact, it's easy to store. But and then someone was also asking about the chair that ooze sat in. I'm pretty sure most of those, any set pieces, might have been destroyed. That's what happens with a lot of movie productions. They
Yeah,
did.
because I would
Go ahead.
love to know where the egg went, right? Like the giant hand
Right.
egg. Like I'm not sure where that went either. I know it was a pretty big prop as well. And like you said, back then, a lot of productions didn't care about this kind. They just threw it out, right?
Hmm. Yeah, that tends to happen for a lot of movies, actually. I mean, you'd be
Yeah.
surprised at some of the stuff that had survived for some movies like this, but
Yeah.
because people didn't expect 30 years later for it to actually be like a massive hit to a specific, niche group of people, they wouldn't think
Hmm.
that they would need to be auctioned off. Even
No.
Batman movies from back then didn't get a lot of love. A lot of those things did get destroyed. Suits survived, Batmobiles didn't. Things like that would have, you know,
Well, a lot of people say the '95 movie was a flop, right? They didn't expect how big it was going to be. But when you look at the budget and the return that they brought in, that movie was a huge success. A lot. The reason why they didn't do a part two, from my understanding, is because a lot of people blasted the storyline and the CGI.
right.
But if you look at it all, I would love to see a part two. Till this day, I would love to see a part two. You know.
me and my cousin have talked about this. This is like one of our favorite movies we grew up with. If
Yeah.
he grew out of Power Rangers, but he still loves this movie. And I have talked to him. He's just like, it would be really cool for them if they did Once and Always. They could probably do like a movie that's like a Netflix exclusive of some sorts. It would be interesting.
Well, I'm not sure who owns the rights to the movies anymore because, like I said, Fox
Disney.
owned it back then. And I know with certain contracts, if you don't do something in a certain amount of time, it'll revert back. So I'm not sure if that was a thing. But the good thing, if they were to do a part two, the way I look at it, Zordon would still be alive because he didn't die in that universe.
Mhm.
I think they could bring Ivan Ooze back. A lot of people say, oh, he got hit. But the thing is, Ivan Ooze could turn into a liquid and reappear.
This is true.
So what if a little piece of him landed on the moon? You know, just a little piece.
He could have just frozen in space, and then a piece of it just comes back as an asteroid or something like that. And
yeah, you know, like I would love to see something like that.
do the whole like symbiote saga story with Ivan Ooze instead.
Yeah, yeah.
I would love to see that, like him come back. Sadly, it might not be Paul Freeman coming back as Ivan Ooze, but
if they, I thought about that too, just due to his age and that. I don't think Paul Freeman might want to take a role like that on again. But with today's technology, they could easily get a lookalike and even do like they did with what's his name from the Fast and Furious there, Paul
Walker.
Yeah, Paul Walker. How they did that with his brother, kind of deal, right?
I would like the idea of maybe him just voicing the character if they really had to.
Yeah, because I had a whole like I wrote kind of a story of how I would like it to go down if they were. And my thing was Ivan come back, the new old Rangers recruit new ones. I'd love to see the new Green Ranger, White Ranger mantle be taken on by the one kid from the new Karate Kid series, Cobra Kai. I think you know who I'm talking about, probably.
Right. We have Frank Hellman actually come back.
Well, I wouldn't mind Draken coming in because unfortunately we had no JDF pass away, but Draken, I think he showed up at the end of the movie. It would be pretty good.
It would be an interesting bridge because it is technically multiverse jumping, so yeah. I would love to see that as well. Yeah. That is a interesting prop that would be fun to see come back right here is the snow globe.
I've said this so many times. I'm surprised nobody makes them yet. Just reproductions for other people. I would love to see that.
I would love to see I don't even know if the original even still exists. I mean, I have that autograph that I got recently. It looks like just one of those like really cheap plastic snow globes you can get at gift shops.
Yeah.
So it can be very easily like reproduced, but I don't necessarily know if that would have survived post-production if it did.
It's not even that because Zed and Rita and that were kind of CGI'd in there, right? So I'm not sure if they had a version with miniature puppet versions of them or...
Yeah, in the images that I look at all the time, it kind of looks like there's something in there, but it's like they overdid it with the snow on the inside. So I guess that could have been just to mask the lack of detail.
Yeah.
Tommy's son should take over. Oh yeah, the one. What is his name? JJ or whatever.
Yeah.
And then a good repro snow globe. Yeah, I would love to see people actually doing that. Just recently, I've seen people, making reproductions of certain things like, the ooze jars and stuff, which I have was like back in 2016. But like, people doing repros of like certain things. Like seeing people trying to make the egg with the hand. They've been doing like 1/6 or not 1/6 scale, more 1/4 scale, like of the command center building. Things like that are really cool. 3D printing has definitely opened up opportunities.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, do you have anything else to add before we end?
Well, I thought I would give you guys a walkthrough of other productions if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Feel free to do so.
No? So if we were going to stay on the movie prop thing, I collect different productions as well, like I explained to you. So I'll just give you a walkthrough. Have you ever seen Percy Jackson? Sea of Monsters?
Yeah.
So do you remember the witch taxi ladies?
Yeah.
So I have one of their stunt masks and feet. So this is one of them.
That is really cool.
So this is what the stunt performer would have worn.
Wow. Let me also
Pretty
put
good.
you on the highlight real
Yeah.
quick.
So this one's made out of silicone, so it's pretty good. It won't degrade or anything like foam latex will.
Mm-hmm.
So there she is. And then Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
So the Bogus Adventure Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the hands, the robotic hands for his. What were their names again? You remember the little small minion guys that hung out with him? I forget their name. Oh,
I forgot their names.
Station 1 and Station 2.
Ah.
Yeah, so these are Station's hands. Over the years, the foam latex sadly degraded off, but it's kind of cool. It shows how they made these things back then. So it was basically a wire armature, and it was rings inside. So every time they moved the fingers would bend for this thing.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's Bill and Ted. And then Flintstones Part 2.
Viva Rock Vegas.
So we have a money chip, salt and pepper shaker.
Wow.
So that's from that. Dawn of the Dead remake. Here's one of the background zombie masks.
That's cool.
Yeah. Pretty
Great
cool.
movie too. Very underrated.
Yeah. Coneheads. This is one of the background Conehead masks. So when they went to the Conehead planet and you see all the characters in the stage. So what they would do back then for the close-up ones would be all prosthetics, but then they would put Coneheads on these.
Nice.
Yeah.
I hate to do this to you real quick, just because my cousin popped in. Here's the one I told you about earlier that loves the movie. Kind of dropped out of Power Rangers. Show the Ivan news real quick for him, real quick.
I'll give him a little rundown of all of them.
Yeah. There you go, Bo.
So here's Ivan.
All screen used.
Except for that.
The head. Yeah, the head.
Or that.
Yep.
Dang it. Pink Ranger.
Yeah, Bo, that's not how you say it, bud. And yeah, that is the great from the opening of the movie, Bo, that they pull off.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah.
Just so he can see what I'm doing special treatment. Yeah, go ahead and continue with the rest of the process.
So everyone knows the Mummy, Brendan Fraser.
Love that movie.
So here we have one of the Mummy masks.
Oh wow.
So do you remember near the end of the movie when Hemotep was raising his priest?
Mm-hmm.
This would be one of the priest masks. You see Rick O'Connell kind of start shooting him with the shotgun. So this is the one they used, and it was a wire that split the head on the actor's head. So they had a guy standing behind him working the wire while the guy's wearing the mask. Then Hollow Men with Kevin Bacon.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of the fire-safe masks that when they caught him on fire, it would protect the stunt actor.
Right.
Here's Blood Vessel, a Netflix movie. I'm not sure if you ever seen it, but the hero vampire prosthetic. So here's a Bright Mask with Will Smith, Netflix movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
Arachnophobia, everyone remembers that.
Great movie.
So this is one of the Big Bob spider puppets, so the main spider from the movie.
Wow.
Here's Army of the Dead, also a Netflix movie with Batista.
Mm.
I'm not sure if you guys remember Andre, the seal movie back in the 90s. Not a girl who finds a seal and she basically takes care of him, but here's his animatronic head.
Aw.
It's kind of creepy, yeah, but...
Wow.
So what they did was, for the open water scenes, they wanted to use this because they didn't want the trained seals swim away in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So, Men in Black 3.
Nice.
One of the alien masks. I have photos and videos with Will Smith actually standing beside this. Gremlins Part 2.
Wow, that is great.
So I don't know if you ever seen Gremlins Part Two, but at the end of the movie, when all the Gremlins were melting in the main lobby there,
Mm-hmm.
so what they did was they're all miniature Gremlins, and it was made on a board, and there was guys underneath the board pulling on these wires and pumping ooze on them that made the Gremlins shrink down and make it look like they were melting
Nice. Wow,
when
that's
they're yeah.
awesome. And you have an
Uh,
image in the background for it or something like that to show that?
yep. So that's all the miniatures there you'll see that they use. Here's an Air Bright orc mask,
Mm.
an Air Army of the Dead. Here we have Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, my roommate would be flipping out over this right now because he loves this movie.
Yeah. So you remember the first movie when they run him over with the car, the
Yeah.
creeper? So this is actually the foot that flew off of him when he got run over. Is foam like rubber made. So it's sold back 2017, I believe, with an arm.
Mm-hmm.
And they call it the tire tread foot and arm because you could see the tire treads on them when they ran over the creeper. And then here's kind of a production piece. You ever heard of Cocaine Bear?
Yes.
Well, this is Crackoon.
Crackoon.
So a buddy of mine is on the movie. I had this puppet made for him. He brought it on set.
Mm-hmm.
So it's now a production piece, Crackoon.
That's funny.
You guys all know Robin Williams, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. May he rest in peace.
Yep. Do you remember Bicentennial Man when he was a robot?
Bicentennial was, yeah. Yep.
So do you remember when he was first coming out with the scenes where he's like building the lungs and all the parts, robotics for humans?
Yeah.
This is his lung that you see in the lab. So I don't know if you remember the scene here when
Wow.
so here it is, still on the rig.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's Ron Williams' lung there. And
Yep.
then
10 years this August. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's been that long.
yeah, it's been pretty sad actually. It's probably one of the best actors out there. Then yeah, that's pretty much it for movie props, except for smaller ones like here's Dinosaurs TV show.
Which is perfect for this channel considering it focuses on the 90s. So
Yep. So here's some of the production money they use. It has dinosaurs on them, T-Rex and whatnot. Hellboy. Here's some Samuel eggs screen used.
wow.
Yeah. And then The Mummy Returns. Here's one of the rubber scorpions that were in the tomb at the beginning of the movie.
Wow, that is amazing. I love the Mummy movies.
Yeah, same. And then do you remember a TV show on Netflix called I Zombie?
Yes.
So here we got some of the blood vessels, blood vials, I mean. And then I got the shot stickers that they gave out on the last season when they're taking the zombie cure. Yeah.
New Yo-Yo Player says this is unbelievable. Awesome collection.
Thank you. That's it for movie props, though. But if we're gonna go into toys and that, there's quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been a collector for a few years now. Yeah.
And I probably would not have the patience to actually dust everything, to be honest with you.
Surprisingly, this room doesn't get too dusty.
Wow.
And then y'all know. Here, I'll show you something. It's pretty cool. You know Freddy Krueger?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you have a signed.
So I sent this in to Robert England 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to his wife there, and I didn't know he was doing autographs, and then got this done. So this is a 1987 Cock and Freddy doll.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, since you have, I would have to go out here and get it. But recently, my roommate and I share a love for the movie Titanic, and
Hmm.
there was an auction for it was a small piece of like laminate flooring from the grand staircase set,
Yep.
and we actually got that in the mail the other day. But it's it's pretty weird. It's pretty weird. I actually have in this house right now currently a prop from the movie, and I actually have coal from the actual shipwreck of the Titanic. That's as close as I'm going to get to a prop.
Like
Oh,
that.
what is that exactly?
Piece of coal as well from the Titanic.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing to have something like that to brag about. This sounds like the only historical stuff that I have.
Well, I see some of the props for the film come up a while, like once in a while. A lot of the times it's the life jackets. I was gonna get one,
Right.
but they're about 2,000 to 5,000 when they come up for those. A lot of the props actually sold in the same auction that I got the Power Ranger stuff.
Actually, the door, I just
Yeah.
went to the Titanic Museum in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Video is up, by the way, if anybody wants to watch it. It's at 17,000 views already. But I went like a week before they got the door in. They actually have that door at that museum right now. I think
Hmm.
along with some of the stuff that Jack and Rose or Kate and Leo wore. They have like an exhibition for the movie there right now.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to see that they have that door there.
Well, I think that sold for like 750,000 or something like that.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily know how this is like. I'm wondering if it was actually the Titanic Incorporated company that usually gets a hold of a lot of this stuff. They might have been the one that purchased it because it looks like they keep a lot of the props and stuff in the back room.
Yeah.
Um, but all right, man. Well, I appreciate you showing everything off.
No
It's
problem.
crazy to see this stuff after 30 years and seeing how well it's been, kept up with. And I'm hoping, obviously, I would believe that you would be able to keep this stuff lasting for another 30 years.
Yeah.
So, um, I don't want to be like Indiana Jones saying it belongs in a museum. But eventually, it'd be nice to have like a Power Rangers museum of some sorts. Yeah.
Well, I would love to do something like that myself, right? Like that's what I'm
Mhm.
saying. Eventually, I want to get as many of the props from the movie I can get. I
Yeah.
always tell people if they're ever in Canada, north of Toronto, come by. Feel free to come check them out yourself, right?
Yeah, it would be interesting. I mean, there are people out there that have their own personal prop collections, and they start opening up their homes to people to be able to come see them. Like, there's a guy that actually has an entire screen collection that
Hmm.
he lets people come see for free.
Yeah.
Um, it's crazy seeing a lot of my favorite stuff. Actually, the props are being well kept up with. So,
Hmm.
but
Well, the way I look at it, collectors treat them better than being in storage, right? For
and that
some
is
company.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is true. Like I think I know my friend Matthew Wilson actually has a few props as well. Like I remember he had a Goldar mask that was from the show,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah. I actually know Matthew. I think we've spoken a few times.
yeah, and he's
Um,
got some decent props too. Like
yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. Um, but uh, but yeah, dude, I appreciate you showing everything off, and I hope everyone enjoyed seeing this. On camera because I mean I appreciated you showing the photos off, and it was
Yeah.
really cool seeing the little virtual tour that we got here. So, um, ever see the world's greatest dad with Robin Williams? I don't think I have seen that.
Yeah. I think I've seen that one. That's I think his son had a little perverted thing going on there and accidentally killed himself, and Ron Williams was running with it. It's kind of an odd movie for him to do, actually.
Yeah, it is. He's done some odd things later on in his life. Like that horror movie or that thriller movie he did was pretty
Oh,
crazy.
the photo one where he was
Yeah,
running. Yeah, yeah, he did a few odd ones there. But you know what? That's what I liked about Ron Williams. He was able to switch when he needed to. Like, ever see Goodwill Hunting? That was more of a dramatic role than a
yep.
comedic role.
And
That's actually.
a lot of
Oh,
comedians do try to break out of the comedian role. Like Jim
yep,
Carrey did the same thing with freaking Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which was
yep.
crazy.
Yeah,
Uh,
with Kate Winslet and that one as well, I believe. Yeah.
I'll be sure to check it out, man. You just asked me to watch this. I'll have to check it out. Um, But yeah, guys, I'm going to go ahead and let Paul go, and we're going to end here. We did 15 minutes showing everything off. I appreciate you coming in, Paul, and showing everything to us. But yeah, guys, as always, if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on this video, and I will talk to you guys later. See you, Paul.
Have a good one.
You too.